and welcome to another episode of My Idaho Friends. I am your host, Jaime Lima, and it's so good to see everybody after taking a long break. For those of you that pretend to care, we were away for a while. I got the COVID-19, had to go quarantine, was up in the mountains with the kiddos. It was all sorts of fun, but not really. It sucked. That fatigue is real. So for those of you that have had it before and have recovered, I feel for you. For those of you on a much more serious note that have been affected in a different way, my heart goes out to you guys too, of course. So still happy to be back, happy to get started, essentially from square zero. So before we get started, as always, shout out to Argos Productions for allowing us to use their studio. Erica and Justin, you guys are the best. And sweet baby James, back there doing all the magic, making sure that everything's streaming appropriately. And also, big shout out to our sponsors, Vital Elements, CBD products. And when I mean like CBD products, I mean CBD products. It's CBD for you, CBD for your pets, CBD for the wife. I'm just talking about the bath bombs, but you know, I like baths too, so I'll use a bath bomb as well. CBD gum and CBD freaking cream and just like the whole CBD thing. So I'm gonna actually, because the proof is in the pudding, I've been using these products because you know what? That helps me, man. High energy. And I'm just like all the way up over here. I need to bring it down here. And then, for those of you that are interested in Vital Elements, feel free to check out our link. You can see it on our YouTube page, and you can also see it on our Facebook page and our Instagram page. And then if you're watching and you enjoy our content, please check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, like the videos, send us some feedback. We're all about it. Today, I get the privilege, the honor, to get to talk to the Metal himself. That's a Mexico thing. I get to speak with the one and only Daniel Marin, boxing coach out of SBG Idaho Combat Fitness. And yes, I'm a little bit biased to be my boxing coach too. That was a humble brag. But we have been together now 3 years, 2 years
now?
Yeah, 3 years, brother. 3 years.
Yeah. It's going good.
My dude, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Here's a spritzer for you.
Awesome.
I don't think you need it, but if you want to have it, have at it.
I will have it. Cheers.
Dude.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, cheers to you, to the ancestors, to our friends and family, and to being back here.
Yes. Oh, that's good.
Daniel, there's so much I'm going to ask you.
Cool.
I'm coming at you, boo. We're going to have that rubber meet the road.
I'm excited.
But before we start getting all deep into all sorts of things, congratulations on closing on a very, very successful kids boxing summer camp. Now, for those of you who are watching and all of a sudden Combat Fitness, SBG, Idaho, if it sounds familiar to you, you're not wrong. When we first started doing the My Idaho Friends episodes, right in the, what would you call it, Erica? Right in the thick of the pandemic, we were doing the episodes. I was in my home office, aka closet, and I did an interview with the big boss man himself, Jesse Brock, owner. One of the owners over at the gym, and also main head coach for a number of things. For me, Muay Thai, and then for everybody else, the grandpappy of all, black belt jiu-jitsu, and
he's a role model to all of us. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, he's a role model, and he just keeps it going. I think he's only a year or two younger than me, but 50 times more fit. So he sets a great standard. So, anyways. Rabbit holes, don't worry, Idaho, we do this here all the time. But yeah, if it sounds familiar to you, is because Coach Daniel happens to be the boxing coach over at SBG Idaho Combat Fitness. And tell me, this is going to be a little different because the way that the format, if you may, for our interviews here, I say ours, but it's my freaking interviews. Damn it. The way that I run the ship is just, we go back into the beginning, and then we want to, get a little window into how things were way back in the day and how they are right now and how they're going to look into the future. But I just don't. I'm impatient.
Yeah.
I'm impatient. I've been away from the game now for 3 weeks. 2 weeks because I was sick, and then the last week because I was hunting. Or actually, the timeline is wrong. Not because I was hunting. I was sick. I just got back from hunting. But anyways, tell us a little bit about why the idea of the summer camp.
Yep.
Okay. Tell me a little bit of the execution, and then to wrap it up on that particular subject, what did you get out of it in the end?
Okay, that's awesome. So this idea of the youth summer camp has been in the works for many years. This is something that has been implanted in me since I was like 9 years old. This is not something new. I always knew that I wanted to become someone. I always looked up to Muhammad Ali, not just in the boxing ring, but what he did outside the ring. He helped so many people. So that's kind of the goal, for my personal goal, to be someone where people come to and feel safe. And with the summer camp program, when I first was starting putting it together, so it was before COVID, I wanted to do a program for men, women, and children who had been physically, mentally, or sexually abused. Just to provide those boxing classes, not just for the fitness part, but like for mental health, kind of a therapy kind of help. But then COVID happened, so we went into shutdown. Everything kind of stopped, and then things were kind of slowly opening up. And then I realized that the people that need it right now the most is our little ones. They need a place to feel safe. The little role models and teachers that they can help. Yeah. And I wanted to be able to provide for that. So, I got this idea, and I'm super blessed. I'm super blessed to have the friends I have and the coaches at the gym that support me with anything, and they help me. And I reached out to them. They loved the idea, and they just said, "Yep, let's start." And when I was first starting to write the lessons, it was a 5-week program, and there was lessons to be introduced, and I didn't really know how to go about them, and I was so stressed. And I was telling my wife, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to teach. I was so nervous, and then she just said, "Hey, just remember why you did it," And after that, I just started writing the lessons like I was talking to myself when I was their age. And just the words, the lessons, the combinations, everything just kind of got here together, because I am a product of all my coaches. I am a product of all my different coaches that I've had during the years, and I just wanted to become the person that I needed when I was their age. So, for example, week 1, the topic of that class was to dream big. I come from a very pretty humble place. And I would go to the gym, and then all my coaches would be like, "Hey man, you deserve this. You deserve to live in a place like this. You deserve to drive this. You deserve this." And all the great things that there were, like where we come from, we don't even think of that because it's not realistic. And culturally, I go home, and they're like, "Hey man, we just work until we die, and that's it." Right. But I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I like their idea better, not this idea. So yeah. I wanted to let them know that they can become anything that they want, like literally, and I wanted to be an example of that. And the first thing I told them, I opened class with, after this program, I'm going to create champions, and not champions in boxing, but champions in life. They're going to be able to take the blueprint essentially of their own lives, to start creating it so they can become, whoever they want to be. So I told them I want to create champions of life. And then we just went on from like lesson 2. I was like, lesson 2, we were in week 2, we celebrated. Now you guys created all this big plans, you guys dream bigger. So now week 2, we're gonna talk about habits. I was like, because I can have $1 million dreams, but if my habits are sitting on the couch all day, those don't match. Right. So I was like, week 2, we have to make those habits, we have to make those connections. So we would break out into like in groups. And it was really cool to see, because they were talking amongst themselves. I'm like, all right, what do you want to be? What was your goal? And I was like, well, tell me a couple things, 3, 4, 5 things that you can do now to make those goals happen. And then, like, for example, one of the girls there, she was like, "Oh, I want to be a photographer." And after week 1, she's like, "Okay, I want to be a photographer, but I made her get specific. I want to be the best photographer in this topic and this." I was like, "All right, so now week 2, what can you do now?" She's like, "All right, well, I can start practicing taking pictures with, you know, the cameras we have at home. I can do some more research on the computer, like looking at videos, looking at what kind of equipment do I need." And so the plan, the idea of that is that everybody believes that success is like way over there, but in reality is now. You make those little baby steps now to create that big step. And you know, we had all those lessons, and then my favorite one, the most important one that I had at the end was week 5, and it was to love yourself, no matter what you do, and especially in this world now, it's so easy to get manipulated by the media and like influencers and like movie stars and all that kind of stuff, that the kids have, you know, internal problems, that they feel bad about themselves, or easy to image issues. Yeah. So I wanted to know that they have to love themselves no matter what. So
that's a great way to wrap up.
Yeah, it was
It's
awesome.
a 5-week program.
5-week program. Yeah, we're gonna get ready to do it here again. I'm not exactly sure on the dates, but yeah, we'll be releasing those soon.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, a couple of things, you know, from what you just mentioned. And I have said this before, not to make this about myself, but like, you know, we're all a byproduct of like, the people that brought us up.
Yep.
And you know, just the same way that you were blessed, I was also blessed by people that decided to spend, you know, their most valuable asset, meaning their time, in developing me. And then growing up with that in the back of my mind at all times, is just like I know and understand that, you know, being part of a community doesn't mean that you just live there and you pay rent or a mortgage and then you spend money in the local economy, but it's just like, how do you make the community that you're part of better?
Yep.
You know, and it's important because not only are we dealing with COVID-19, but we're dealing with a heck of a lot of other, you know, socioeconomic issues and like everything, you know, from the BLM movement, you know, the Black Lives Matters movement, and then everything that is happening also because of the economic after effects of the pandemic and things along those lines. To me, I think it's pretty amazing that you guys, you know, you and your team were able to still develop a program, bring in the kids, and not only give them a safe space to hang out with each other, spend time with each other, but also develop in this very challenging time what most people will not either know or understand what can be developed by boxing, physical activity, and exercising. And I say that because my wife and I were, you know, we talked to you, and I talked to you, and it was pretty excited about the idea of the summer camp, but during the summer is when we take the kids, you know, out to the mountains and stuff like that. So whenever the next dates come out for the fall, we're gonna let us all know. But as we talk to a lot of our friends and a lot of, you know, our acquaintances, and say, you know, what, you're just gonna have your kids beat up each other? Like, they do that on their own already, and like, why are you just gonna have them doing with gloves so it can happen longer?
Safer.
But right, safer. That is true. But for those who are unfamiliar, and maybe you can dip a little bit of that, and then I'll go and circle back on because you answered the first and second question as to the why and the execution, but I still want to hear from you as to, like, you know, the after action report, if you may, you know, on a personal level, and then the impact on the children. But before we get to that, please don't let me forget. That's why I say these things out loud. You got some skin in the game, Daniel. But you know, I want you, before we hit that, I want you to explain, you know, everybody watching, because not everybody understands what you can get out of the martial arts. Boxing being one of them. Okay, and the correlation into like growing up, because people think you're just gonna grow up tough and you're just getting beat up and you're gonna go out there and be a bully and beat up other people. I happen to know that's not the kind of coach you are. And for the most part, not always, unfortunately, but for the most part, you know, that's, you know, people that care, people that coach, and then people that teach the sweet science, that's not what they do. So tell us a little bit more about how these values and the lessons that you were teaching these children actually tie to the sweet science.
Yeah, it's boxing. Well, here's for me. Boxing for me plays a big role in my life and how I carry myself, how I do everything in life. You know, the benefits of boxing are I mean, there should be a study of how, you know, the boxing and fitness, because you can go, because I go to therapy, I've been in therapy, but you how do I explain it? It's just the all effect of like knowing that you're okay, the all effect of knowing that you're doing this. You get to the gym, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna do this, and this, and then in your mind you're like, oh man, and then at the end, just the after effect of feeling like, man, I just did all this and I can do it, and you start believing in yourself more. You start being more positive about yourself, and just all the mental you know, inner peace you find with yourself. Like and yes, boxing is not a violent sport. It's a if you really learn it and understand it, even just go for a couple classes, you'll understand, like when they're in the boxing ring, it's really a choreographed dance. Like they're dancing, we're moving. It's the sweet science is, you know, you hit someone without being hit. It was the hardest thing. And really, once you do boxing, everything else becomes easy. You know, you already did the hardest thing. For myself, I already did the hardest thing, which is stepping another person that was training for 6 weeks to beat me up. You know, so nothing else really can scare me other than,
right.
You know.
And just to clarify for people watching, that's on the competitive.
Competitive, yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
competitive level. And then you also have, for example, the youth camp level, which is developing those values, developing that self-love, and developing, you know, the ability to understand. It's like I showed up, and it was probably the hardest thing I'd done besides just, you know, playing video games. And then, you know, just hanging around in social media. But I came here and, you know, I got my butt kicked. Not literally, because you're really more running through drills and the physical fitness, and then doing a lot of teamwork. And then looking back into that hard body of work that develops not only fitness, physical fitness, but also a great deal of mental toughness, which then allows you to tackle other things outside, if you may, of the ring, outside of the gym, outside of the mats, and, you know, with a fresh and far more positive outlook. It's just like, you know what, like I just did all these things.
Did all this,
for all this amount of time with my friends, and now life is throwing this at me, and I know exactly how I'm going to respond to it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Oh man, outstanding. Here I am translating things. Now, thank you for reminding me. We wrapped. I love to take credit for everything. You guys wrapped up the youth program. Tell me, you know, what is it that you saw as far as impact, not just to yourself, and I want to hear about that. But first, you know, what you think the impact was to your young students.
The feedback we got from the kids, like from the kids mainly, just being happy to be there, and it was so exciting because it was a 2-hour blocks that we were training. We were training from 3 to 5, and to get to then, all right guys, we're gonna finish up, let's wrap up, let's go, and then them like whining like, no, I want to stay here. And we would make a joke like, you can't stay here, the ghost of Jesse Brock will get you. And so they were like, who's Jesse Brock? We want to meet the ghost. And I was like, you can't stay here. So it's just them not wanting to leave. And then it was the sweetest thing for me. This is one of my greatest achievements, you know, because I've won championships, I won titles, I won different awards in boxing, but none of them top this, like being able to give back, and this kind of programs fill my cup. You know, it's not easy to be able to be influenced. I was always nervous because I was like, I can have an impact on this kid's life in a positive way or in a negative way. So I went in the mindset of I have to, you know, really think about everything I'm going to say and my lessons, and they have to have a purpose, or else I can guide them in the right way, the wrong way. They can, you know, they can take things in a different way. So we were very careful about making sure that we're preparing ourselves the best that we can. And again, those were lessons of my coaches that I've learned, and
Right.
just implementing it in my own way, what I've learned. And yeah, it was just great. The parents kept coming in like, man, this is all they talk about. This is all this. And then like I had another parent say, we've tried putting her in different sports like soccer, this, that, basketball, and then they'll drop out of the sports because they don't like it. But this is something that they keep coming to. They're looking forward to it. They're just enjoying it so much. And the best feedback that I got, it was from a mom. And she asked one of our coaches, she was like, so how long have you guys been doing this? And like, no, this is our first time ever. and she was surprised by that, but just because we were so organized and so everything. And big props all to my friend Ty. She is the one behind the scenes that helped me organize everything.
Right.
She's the one that kept everybody together. I'm the brains, and she just puts it in paper, making sure
Execution. Time
Exactly.
Simpson. You guys should
Yep.
check out that episode, The Storyteller. It's the first half, the part one, a little happy-go-lucky. Part two, we dive into some very current events, deep issues, and whatnot. Much love to Ty Simpson, The Storyteller. We're always talking and thinking about
Yep,
you.
always.
We'll see you again, Queen.
Yeah, so I'm just super grateful for the team that we had. I had Coach Parker with me, Coach Kai.
Yeah.
Coach Kai, he's one of my coaches that teaches the foundations part when I'm teaching at SBG. So it was our personalities just matched so well, especially because we had over 25 kids.
It's a great turnout.
That it was awesome. That they needed all those different personalities, to click.
Yeah.
So it was just an amazing achievement. And for me too, is just because I had my oldest daughter with me there too. So just to be able to teach that to her too as well. She's there, and then my niece and my nephew were there too. So it just made the experience even 10 times better for me.
Steel sharpens steel.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, having said steel sharpens steel, because it goes both ways, and you have done a wonderful job explaining, what you saw, what you witnessed as far as the impact to your young students, which range from ages of.
Yeah, we did it from ages 5 to 17, so it was a big gap.
So that's a big gap
Yeah.
right there, and we'll tackle that. We'll tackle that a little bit more, but that's pretty impressive, and also. Granted, I have some insight as to how you guys went about it. Not because I was there, but also because I know the coaches that were helping you, so that you get the diversity and the ability to, separate into groups, and then being able to develop the lesson, for the day. Not develop, excuse me, execute the lesson for the day. But I want to know, and you mentioned, that this is far more valuable than any of your accomplishments in boxes. We will touch on. I know you're a very humble guy, but we're going to talk about it because we're going to switch gears here in a little bit. But outside, of course, and it's okay if you go in circles and repeat this a little bit. Outside of touching your heart and what did it do for you? Like when you look, because what was the last day of the camp? It was last week, correct?
No, not last week. It was
2 weeks ago, maybe even longer. Sorry, I've been in the spirit world. I was sick and then I was hunting. It's a great bounce back.
It's a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you take out of it?
It was great because I was teaching this program, and at the same time I was teaching this program, I was reliving my lessons and redoing all those things, relearning essentially all these things and adapting them to my everyday life. Now, just like I did when I was younger, when I was their age, and now I got to do it in my adult life. Now that I have different problems and different worries and different schedules and stuff, I was able to reapply myself and do it all over again. So it was just it was just like a nice what do you want to call it, like rewind back of time, like a time travel through all that. So it was just, for me, it was amazing to be able to do that. And like I said, it just fills my cup to be able to provide and help those kids in need, because I know that if it wasn't for boxing, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't be the person I am. I just now would have been, I don't know what I would be doing, honestly, if it wasn't for boxing.
And that's when we segue.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm good at this. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this is how the episodes usually go with my Idaho friends. Let's take it away.
Dim the lights.
The lights dim, some smoke. No, we don't have that in the budget yet. We will someday. We will someday. But we're not there yet. There will be special effects. Sweet baby James will be giving different countdowns in the background. It's going to be awesome. Very excited for the future host for Myth. We go back. Tell us a little bit about you growing up. Okay, so a little bit. How was it that you found boxing, or how was it that boxing found you?
Yeah, it was. I didn't start with boxing actually. I started with my dad. My dad in Mexico, he did a little bit of karate here and there, but my uncle was the one that actually, took it pretty far. He won like national championship in Mexico and stuff like that. So,
karate.
Yeah, so I'm also watching Cobra Kai on Netflix, which is pretty
Boom,
cool.
as you should.
Yes, and which went rabbit hole. Let's get out of there.
Yeah, for the time.
And so it was kind of because I was always a really hyper kid. My mom says like I could never just sit still. I used to watch I would be watching TV, but like my feet up in the couch, and I can just never stay still, just flipping and turning, and I wasn't a bad kid. I was just super hyper, like
a lot of energy.
a lot of energy. So I tried karate, and I think I did it for a few months, and then it came to sparring, and then we had belly pads, shin pads, headgear, everything. And karate, we did is just you touch one point and then they stop, and then I try it again. So whoever makes contact first. So I didn't like that. I was like, no, I guess my mom told me the story again. I guess I got angry and just ripped my headgear. They don't know how to fight right, and got angry. And so, and I started in elementary school when I started boxing. My mom was waiting for me outside elementary school, and then that's where she met a boxing coach. And they just started talking. So she advised her to bring me to the gym. And the arrangement they had is that I was going to go in there, and because how they do, I grew up in a really old school boxing gym. So you get there day one, and day one you spar against the best guy in the gym to see if you're actually going to do something with this, because they just wanted to weed people out. Uh-huh. And so that was the plan. Go in there, get my butt kicked, I get humbled. I'm gonna be chill forever now. So I get in there, get my butt kicked, and I fell in love with boxing. And I just from there I just kept going and training, and it just we're here now. Yeah, history.
That's awesome. No, forgive me, because that is an awesome story, and I love it.
Yeah.
And we can, you and I can go back and forth forever about that. But for the folks watching at home, that's not how you teach.
No, that's not how I teach.
That's not how you teach.
No.
And that's not how it's done at SPG Idaho.
No, it's not.
Straight Blast Gym. So things have changed over time.
Things have changed, yes.
And for the better.
Yes.
Especially as far as protecting children and blunt trauma and things like that. And I don't know if we'll have time to dive into that or not, but I just want to make sure that anybody watching doesn't think that the summer camp, it is all right, 25 children, ages from 6 to 17. So that's not what happened. But that's usually how it goes as you go back on the hot tub time machine, and how things were done, and because it's funny, and gosh, we don't have all the time in the world, but I think one of the aspects of SBG, of Straight Blast Gym Idaho Combat Fitness over here, is in which you go and learn the martial arts. Now, if you want to grow your skill set from learning and go past just physical fitness and actually test your skills on sparring, then you can choose to do that, but you do not have to.
No.
And then if you do that, and then you're gonna go on the competitive side of things, then there's a different conversation.
Different
also.
roads, yeah.
You know, and not everybody takes that road. So settle down. If you're watching and you think like the children are getting beat up and everybody's getting their ass kicked, it's not like that. And there are, unfortunately, gyms like that.
Yep.
Because I have participated in gyms like that. When I've shown up and like I want to learn a skill set, but then instead of like learning a skill set, you just get get destroyed on day one.
We got a new heavy bag.
We gotta have a new we got a new heavy bag. You know, we have a new piece of equipment, and some people stick it out. Yeah. Which is fine, and then those are who are deemed worthy to, you know, be trained and chiseled into a potential fighter later. But then there's just some people that want to try something new. They want to experience some camaraderie, and then also have a skill set, which, heaven forbid, if you do need, you know, to get into a physical confrontation, then all of a sudden you can defend yourself and those around you. Yeah. But that's not necessarily.
No, that's not.
That's not the one and only goal and end state. And I wanted to throw that out there because, and then you know, from like or half a dozen viewers, if they remember, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Thank you, Idaho, for tuning in and watching. But no, when you know, I was having the conversation, you know, with the boss man himself, you know, with the ghost of Jesse Brock, and you know, we're taking it back, you know, to his wrestling career and his MMA career, you know, and all the fighters in the stable, you know, that all the coaches have brought up, yourself included, you know, that has experienced a certain level of success in the local level and the national level throughout different promotions. It's that, you know, you don't have to fight. No. There are people in the gym that are amazing athletes that have never hit somebody or have never gotten hit ever. Yep. And they have like the greatest time. Yeah. And it's awesome. And as somebody that goes there, if said person will want to fight, I don't know that I will want to get hit by them, you know. And it's like, and if it happens, you know, it's gonna hurt and it's gonna be bad. But at the same time, you know, they have not crossed that threshold because they don't have to, and they don't, you know, and they just get to choose their level of comfort as to like how much they want to push themselves and what it is that they. What it is that experience, what it is the experience they want to experience. English is a second language. We're just going to scratch that. We're going to go that, you know, they do what they want to do. Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that because at times it can be misconstrued. Yeah. So you get introduced at a very young age to boxing. Okay, and there's a little bit of that old school sauce, you know, which we're still grateful for. But, but absolutely. But in this day and age, we happen to know better. Yeah. And you know, and it is what it is. So what happens from there? You know, we start training. Are we like good from the get go, or like we suck ass? Like what happens? You know, it's like, and suck ass means you know, we're not that good. What is it that drives? Because I want to touch on some of your accomplishments because some people that are watching might not know what Golden Gloves is and understand like the level of commitment that you have in order to become a Golden Gloves champion or even a Golden Gloves contender and things along those lines. So how does that journey look like as a kid that gets introduced to boxing and it's okay, I've been humbled a little bit, but I'm going to stick with it. And now what do I do next? Yeah, it was just. I don't know. Just from the beginning, I think it was so new and it just felt right that I just naturally became really good at it and I fell in love with it. And then I believe it was like almost a year, and then I had my first boxing fight, and it was funny because I get in there and then my coach he was joking with me. He was like, oh, this guy's known for his knockouts, and be careful and this. And I'm just sitting there sweating and I'm tired, panicking. And he's like, oh man, be careful. He hits hard and he's knocked out everybody. And I'm just scared out of my mind. And then I get there and then I believe it was second round. I won in the second round. Oh. And then at the end he's just laughing. He's like, yeah, I'm just joking. he's like, you did awesome. And then just from there it just became just more. No offense. Was your coach Latino?
No, well, I had different coaches. That particular coach, no, he was white, but he
Was
hung
he
out.
Irish? Because that's the only other thing. This is like, it's either Irish or Latino, man. Like, it's just that's some Irish shit right there or something.
He was awesome,
Not
and
the stereotype.
and yeah, from there it just kind of went on. We went fight after fight, and then it became known that just this was something that I was really good at, and then so now. At first, we went in and the idea was like, all right, just have fun, like go have fights, doesn't matter, just enjoy your time. And then when it became known that, oh, you can actually do something with this, now it was time to, really focus and change the whole approach of it. Like, so like, you can't go out, you got to sleep at this time. So we already, from a young age, they started training me to live as if I was already a world champion.
A champion.
Yeah. So to go wake up in the morning, go run, 4 or 5 in the morning, go run, go to school, not good at school, come home, go to the gym, stay there, come back home, eat, go run, come back.
Right. A job, if you will.
Yes, it was definitely a job, and at that point, I felt some sort of a way, because even at that age, I felt like people depend on me already on that age to help to change our path. This is something that I can help everybody with.
Right, not just your family,
Exactly.
but also I will bet. I'm not a betting man, but I will go ahead and as I grab another spritzer, I get to.
I gotta hurry then.
I get to say things because it's my show. I'm not a betting man, but if I was to bet my left testicle, also known as nut, that you not only was as a matter of like what a bright future in the sport might bring as far as changes to you and your family, but also, and I wouldn't necessarily say the pressure, but I know as a young man or gal, who went through similar experiences, also, making sure that you're not letting your mentor and your coaches down.
Exactly.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a very, very big deal.
Especially in our culture, we have this sense of like orgullo, pride, and just having all that behind me, and it just made me work harder, for what I have.
And by the way, just so everybody that's at home watching, or not at home, and happy you happen to not be at home. I don't even know why that matters. But if just so people have a clear picture, what age group are we talking about when this is happening?
I started boxing when I was 9 years old, 10 years old.
But then like the waking up, running, eating a solid breakfast.
I started doing this at 11, 12 years old. Now we were in like, all right, we're gonna groom you for this. Yep, yeah, exactly. So, so already from back then, and actually too, we had I would do with my dad. He's like, hey, when you gotta start like getting ready to like sell yourself, you gotta be able to sell yourself as a fighter. So we would like practice getting interviewed and practice getting this and like practice doing all those kind of things to just to because at that point we needed just to get more practice and how do I explain it? Does it make sense?
No, yeah, well, it makes sense to me, but don't wait. Finish the sentence. I'll let the people know at home.
You got me. You're my translator.
I got you, boo.
And so I mean, I started fighting. I was able to compete. I have 51 amateur fights. I won 17 titles. I competed for nationals, Golden Gloves, Silver Gloves, Junior Olympics, Idaho State Champion, Utah State Champion. So, I was able to compete in that level. And then, what is it now? Almost 6 years ago, we made a decision to go to Vegas. And my dad came in my room one day. He said, "Hey, we've done everything we could here. We gotta do something greater." It's like, "We're going to Vegas," and I said, "All right, let's do it." And then also I want to mention, at that point I met my wife. We were probably dating for like 3 months, and then I came out. I was like, "Hey, honey, I'm going to Vegas. If you want to hang out with me, cool. If not, sorry, but this is." And she's like, "Yep, like I'm here with you." So the support from the beginning was amazing. So like all my success is also because I have a good team behind me as well.
Yeah. It makes you far more resilient.
Exactly. Yeah. And I went over there, and we landed in Vegas, and then the first gym we found was actually, it was the closest gym to we were staying. We found like my cousin's husband's family's sister friend to give me a place to stay.
That is the most Mexican I should say Latino thing too.
Yeah.
Everybody has the same thing in Panama. It's like, oh.
Yeah, so we got there, we needed a place to stay, and they're like, yeah, you can stay with this person. And I was like, cool. And the first, my dad stayed for the first week so I can find because my bus ride, I didn't drive, I didn't do anything. So I needed to find like bus ride to take to get to the gym. So we were looking for gym. We're just scouting to see what gyms we can go to. The closest one was Fernando Vargas' gym. Fernando Vargas, for you guys who don't know, he fought in the '96 Olympics. He won with Floyd Mayweather. He fought against Oscar De La Hoya, Tito Trinidad, Sugar Shane Mosley. So just amazing achievements that he did. Yeah. And but we got there and the gym was closed. It was still under construction. It wasn't ready until like 4 months until then. And then so we started looking around. We found a bunch of different gyms. I landed at the Floyd Mayweather Boxing Club, and then it was the scariest thing. The best thing that's ever happened to me, and the scariest thing that ever happened to me. I got to meet all his coaches, all the trainers, Roger Mayweather, which I met also in nationals, just the whole team. And I got there, and then I tried I was day one at the gym. I was jumping rope, and you can just hear chatter, like this, or someone yells out. I was like, just yelling out like, "Oh, this is my new sparring partner. This is my new this is my new that." And you have to be careful what you say, because a doghouse can just happen at any time. And at the Mayweather Club, you jump to the doghouse, that means you spar. And so sparring is a lot different in that gym than any other gym, because you go spar there, there's no rounds, there's no time, you just go until someone's done. So you have to just humble yourself and not say anything back. And went there. So that night, we were a little disappointed because it was far from our house. It wasn't what we expected it to be. It wasn't going to be a good fit. From the get-go, we realized it wasn't going to be a good fit. So that night, we were driving back to that place where they let us stay, and then we were saying, you know what, we tried, we gave it a shot. And then as we're passing that road, we see Fernando Vargas' gym, the light on, and I said, let's go, let's walk in. And we pulled in, we see him there, we introduced ourselves, hey, can we take a picture? He was super awesome about it. And we told him, I was like, hey, I'm coming all the way from Boise. This is a dream, this is that. And he's heard that story millions of times before.
Right, as most boxing coaches or anybody that has
heard that story. Like, so he kind of like brushed us off, like, all right, man, we're not open yet for another few months, so just, come back then. And but then my dad did something that I didn't know he did. He said, give me a second, and he went to the car, and he pulled out this folder. And
that's how the story's gonna get good.
Yes. And he pulled out this folder.
Special effects.
And in this folder, he put out a sheet of it was a petition for like donations to get me to Vegas. It was my dad went around family members and friends and family members who believed in my dream, believed in my goal, to help me get there.
And believed in you.
Believed in me to get to there. And he showed it to Vargas, and it was just a sheet of what my dad had built to pay for the gas money to get there. Because again, I grew up from a pretty humble place, and Vargas was reading it, and then he looked up to me and he said, "Ponte tus guantes," like, put your gloves on. Mm-hmm. And then I just started crying, just tears right away. And I was, all right, got my gloves on. We went into the ring, and we just hit it off. We were doing pads, and every combo we were hitting, it just felt smooth. It just felt right. And from there, he just held my shoulders, and he said, from now on, I'm going to be your boxing coach. And excuse my language, but he said, y chingo mi madre si no te hago campeón del mundo.
Man, again, the timing.
Special effects.
Yeah.
And
si no te hago campeón del mundo, it's like, if I'm gonna skip the explicit. That will be for la raza to translate over here on your end. But beep 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 if I don't make you a world champion.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a very
From a three-time
high
world champion.
level,
Yeah.
3-time world champion athlete. So that's a big deal.
So it was, and it was amazing. And you know, we got done with our little pad session. You know, I'm crying, we're taking pictures, and we're outside the gym now. And then he said one more thing. He's like, if you're gonna, he's like, I'm gonna train you under one condition. And I said, yeah, anything, whatever you want. And he says, you have to go to church with me. and I grew, you know, and I grew up in a Catholic home and never cared for it. Never really.
That's so Mexican.
Never really.
I can say that.
Never really.
People at home are like, "Oh my God, Jaime."
Damn.
Oh shit.
And yeah, never really followed it. Never really, you know.
Yo entiendo.
I believe in God and everything, but at the time I was just not in the place. And of course I just said, yeah, this, you know, whatever you need. Yep, anything you need. Let's do it. And then so first time I'm at church, and first time I go with his son. We actually went to a youth group, and I went with the youth group with his son, and then they're Christians, so we went to Victory Outreach in Vegas, and we get in there, and as soon as he opens the door, just a sea of kids dancing and singing and praying, and I'm just like, oh man, like what did I get myself into? And so we go, of course, all the way to the front. You know, we're sitting there. He's next to me. He starts dancing and singing. And I didn't know what to do, so all I did was just bow my head, close my eyes, and I was just saying thank you for in the best way that I could. I was in a way praying. I was thank you for this, thank you for that,
gratitude,
just for the opportunity. Thank you, you know, for watch out for my baby back home. Just all the things that I can think of at that moment. And this is where it gets interesting because there was a point where I couldn't hear anything. I started crying and I could not open my eyes, and I just started crying and crying. I was alone in this room, and I'm preaching now, and
do it.
And I don't know how long I lasted like that. That when I was able to come to, like, everybody was sitting down, church was still going, and what I got this lesson from now is I didn't go to Vegas to become a world champion. I went to Vegas so I can meet him, come back, and teach what was taught to me now.
Oh, boom! Yeah. That's how we. If this was like not live, that's how we would end the episode. Yes. That is awesome, by the way. And I'm not making fun of your experience. No. I'm pretty much a heathen myself, but as somebody that was raised, you know, in a Catholic household, that then was exposed to a Jehovah's Witness household, who then was exposed to a Mormon household, so then was exposed to all sorts of things, while my grandma and some other family members were most certainly like interested and practicing in Santeria. Things are a little bit mixed for myself.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I understand.
And but I not only do I respect and honor and encourage other people's you know, religious beliefs and what, you know, whether you believe on the ancestors and, you know, those that came before you, or everything that you find that is brand new, that drives something that is good within you.
Exactly, yeah.
I am always a big promoter of that. I'm always a big fan, and if I can always support anyway, I'm just a big thumbs up. Just don't make me feel guilty because I'm not part of it. But, you know, but at the same time, I get it, and that sense of community and that all the positive aspects, you know. And I'm not here to. I'm not going to talk about, because everything has pros and cons, and there's a positive and there's a negative, and there's a balance, and there's a yin and yang. But I am so grateful. I'm so glad that you shared that experience, because when you feel it, you feel it. You feel it.
I can't explain it.
You cannot, and that's for you. And thank you.
I had to go to Vegas, out of all the places, Sin City, to find what was right for me.
Your testimony.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome, and I think that's amazing. And hopefully it doesn't come across like this. I'm not.
Oh no, not at all.
This is gonna come back to bite me in the ass years into the future. But I happen to have lost my faith. It was the opposite for me, which is like
Everything happens for a reason, Jaime.
everything happens for a reason.
I'm here for that reason. Let's talk about you now.
Yeah, no. Nobody cares about me except my wife. And that's it. But and that's a lie. That's a lie. I'm very blessed and I'm very fortunate to have friends and family that do care a great deal about me. But I find it incredibly interesting when anybody can find strength, when anybody can find community, when anybody can find something to move you forward in a positive direction.
Yeah.
And if that happens to be your faith, I think that you should most definitely triple down on that.
Absolutely.
For me and my experience, and I know I don't like to talk too much about it because a lot of people just get upset or they just like, oh man, he's going straight to hell. And the thing is like, the things changed, and like, the experience of going to war and deploying multiple times is just like, every time I come back to a deployment, that faith will just, that needle on that gas tank just get emptier and emptier and emptier until it finally was just gone. There was just no measuring track for that. And I don't say that for anybody to feel sorry for me or anybody to feel bad for me, but it's just essentially that's when I became free and I became more accepting and I became far more open into different and new opinions, and that's when I actually truly was able to listen. But that's my path.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to be your path, and I will never push it into somebody else. I will never push it into my children. If my children grow up and they desire, as they get older, to make their own decision and decide that that they find their testimony, and that's something that is going to be important to them, I will most certainly not get on the way of that. In the same way that I would not get on the way of them choosing not to follow said path. But that's very powerful, and especially, and I know. Oh gosh, I'm so glad for the most part, this is all in English. Bad English, but still English, so my mom cannot understand that. Because, fun fact, and I don't know who's going to sell me out to her, she doesn't know that. My mother does not know that, And growing up, like, it's such the Latino experience, the immigrant Latino experience, is such a wide variety of things.
Yeah.
And our faith can be, or lack of, can be something that could either have you be part of the crew or have you not be part of the crew. And and what I have, gosh, again, I'm going to stop talking about myself here very, very, very soon. I apologize, but like all the accusations, like, oh, that's what happened because you moved to the U.S. or like, oh, that's what you're whitewashed, son. Like, that's it. Like, you're gonna burn, and like. It's funny, but it's not funny because for them it's very serious business.
Yeah.
And there are a few of them that when they say that, they say it because they care for my eternal soul, if you may. But then there's that other half or that other quarter or whatever, if anybody's watching, whatever makes you feel more at ease, that it's just like, let's just say it's just a lower percentage, a lower number. And they just do it and they take perhaps some pleasure in that. And that's what, unfortunately for me, is what I've experienced the most of, is a certain level of judgment, is a certain level of like, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe it.
Jeez, Jaime.
Well, no, well, I don't want my children around you. Yeah. And what about your children? I certainly don't want your children or my children. I was like, well, that's cool, man, because like we're busy and we got a lot of things going on, and you are more than welcome regardless of, and if you don't want to sit on the table, then that's fine too. Yeah. I wish you the best. Yeah. And, we're going to put, not a pin, but we're just going to scratch that. And if this is something that we could edit, we will definitely edit all that out. But here we are, live on my Idaho Friends. And we are talking to you, your boxing experience. There's Vegas. you understand, and by the way, and I really mean it, and I respect that, and I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that, and for you to share your testimony over here, like that means a great deal to me, and that's coming from somebody who, I guess, is just a faithless heathen, but I understand it and I get
Yeah.
it because I have been there before,
Yeah.
and what that will speak to your heart.
Yeah.
And that clearly was the foundation
Mm-hmm.
for who you are right now, not only as a person, not only as a husband and a father, but also as a coach.
Yes.
And to me, what's most impressive, and you know, we had this conversation on the phone. It's like, you know, I have no other way to describe you, but you know, it's just like an old soul. Tell the good people at home, how old are you?
I am 25.
You are 25 years old.
Yeah.
So when you were saying earlier to start, if you happen to be paying attention or you just tuned in right now, 5 years ago in
Yeah.
Vegas, this just happened.
This just happened.
You know,
Yeah.
I can fart 5 years. I'm 40. You know, it's like 40 is like not a big deal. All right. I mean, 5 years is nothing.
Yeah.
5 years, like, you know,
Yeah.
that's the equivalent of like 5 months in the Marine Corps. It's just like, but that's awesome because it just speaks volumes of your maturity. It speaks volumes of your commitment. What happened? You get into the gym. You're going to church with your coach and his son, and you now know and understand that there's a calling for you. But, well, you understand perhaps that there's going to be a calling for you, but you don't know exactly at that time what that is.
Yeah.
And you're 20 years old, and now we have a gym. We have a 3-time world champion coach, but you know, boxer, who's now your coach. Vast amounts of knowledge, experience, and clearly wants what's best for you.
Yeah.
What happens next?
I spent a whole year out there in Vegas, and we were training, and then you know we would say like, oh, there's a fight coming up, and we would train, and then no fight would happen. We would train, no fight would happen.
Which sometimes happens.
Which something happens, yes.
And you know, there's a business to the sport.
Yeah, and it was just it was rough. Like I had when I was out there in Vegas, you know, I was blessed to be part of a TV show on Mundo, Welcome to Vargas with them. I got little parts with them, and then I got to do another little skit with Hall of Famer referee Joe Cortez for like ESPN. So the idea was like they're starting to put me out there to introduce me to the world of boxing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all rainbows. It wasn't all happy stuff. You know, that was one of the hardest parts too of my life that I've been through, the whole training process. Because what a lot of people don't know is like, yeah, it looked like I was living good on TV, but behind the scenes, you know, I was living in the north side of Las Vegas, like right in front of this swap meet. I was sleeping on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, grocery shopping for me was I would go to the dollar store and get what I could get. I got my bike stolen there, and it was rough. It was rough. Like I remember sleeping and there's like roaches, and like it was just not a good time. And you know, I remember my father-in-law came to my wife came and she brought her family, and my father-in-law came and visit us, and they're like, dude, why are you living like this? Why can't you come home? And but we just had that idea that like I had to stay there. I had to do this and
Pay the dues.
and stuff like that. And they're like, no man, if you come home, you can still train, and then why can't you come back and forth? And
At that time, were you married already?
we were not married yet, no.
But you were engaged.
We were, yeah.
Because you said your father-in-law came
Yeah.
to visit, but you know, but at
Yeah,
that
we
time,
weren't married yet, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just I decided to make the jump to just, you know, just come home and be done with boxing, with all that stuff. And you know, when I was fighting, when I was on TV and stuff, like my phone was blowing up, text messages every day. I got a call from an aunt one day. She was in Mexico, and she was like, "Oh, I used to hold you when you were a baby, this and that." And I was like, "Cool, I don't know who you are."
Right.
And then when I decided, you know, I was done boxing, like the phone call stopped, everything kind of stopped. Like the help that was said that was there, it wasn't there no more. So it also put it in a little perspective for me too. So I had to look out for myself too, my mental health and what I want to do, because a lot of people don't know this, but like a few years ago when I was done boxing, I used to stutter a lot, big time, just from so many hits. I believe I went through so many
Undiagnosed
undiagnosed concussions, and we just didn't know any better, you know. So I came home, and then you know, at the time, some people judged me like, oh, if I were you, I would have done this. If I were you, this. And my response to that is like, it's not. You like the idea of being in the spotlight. You like the idea of doing all that stuff, but you don't really know what it takes to be at that spot. You miss out when you're a fighter. You miss out on holidays. You miss out on birthdays. You miss out on sleep. I didn't really have a childhood growing up because I was always focused on the gym. You miss out on so much because your life is boxing. It's a full-time job. So, but my goal for me was always not to become a world champion or to become famous because I don't like big crowds. I'm super like introverted person. My goal for me was to use boxing and use that to be able to give back. And so, in terms like boxing gave me what it needed to give me. It gave me the knowledge. It gave me the experience. It gave me the everything that I need. So now I can use all these gifts that I've learned and share it with the people who need it the most, which is and there's another thing I didn't want to get into, but it's like my trauma that I've been through, and boxing kind of helped me open that up and realize there was trauma there, and through boxing I was able to heal and overcome that, and I became stronger because of it.
And then therefore having the ability to share that gift. And for those who have experienced something similar, or the exact same thing, can then understand that there is a way in order to reclaim said power, to reclaim yourself, conquer that, and move forward. It is tricky and it is difficult, and we're not gonna go into the trauma aspect of it. But I think what is worth mentioning for those who are watching is that the level of sacrifice, you touched on it, but you touched ever so slightly. Because it is like when people watch and they watch boxing. Boxing is a big spectacle. It's big business. It's big money if you happen to be at the highest level. But what does it take to get there? And it's the same way in which like my kid plays football in junior high, and
we have a say, you can play football, you can play soccer, you can play badminton, you can't play boxing.
You cannot play boxing.
You get hurt
because it's a fight. It's a fight, and you some people may not understand or grasp that, like, not to take anything from any other sports or any athletes, and not to say it's like, oh, like the martial arts is where it should be, and then all of a sudden you should get like a membership on SPG Idaho, which by the way you should. But but the thing is, people do not sometimes grab the concept of how far boxing goes. When you're talking about the original Olympic sports. Okay, and yes, there were people running. Yeah, there were, there were people jumping and doing all sorts of things. But people were wrestling and people were fighting. And when they were fighting, they were boxing. It goes way back. And the way in which you grow up, and at times in a positive or unfortunately negative manner, you are groomed into that lifestyle, because it's a job, it's a career, but it's a lifestyle. And all of a sudden, as a child, you get up and you make the conscious decision of like, I'm gonna wake up at 4:30 or 5 a.m. I'm gonna put in 3 to 5 miles. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna scarf whatever little breakfast I have. Because fun fact, and you know this and I know this, people of privilege, children of privilege, do not go into boxing.
No, it's not a rich person's sport.
It's not. They go. No offense to anybody watching that plays golf, and no offense to anybody that plays lacrosse, which, by the way, was stolen from the Native Americans. No big deal there. How the fuck that happened, I have no idea. But like, It's funny if you really watch the greats when it comes to the sweet science. You know, there's a there's a bill that got paid, and that bill came at a very high price. Whether they chose to live the rest of their career and their life honorably, or whether they fell victim to the money and the fame and like everything that was completely overwhelming and all the negative stuff that comes with it. Either way, everybody paid the same toll to one extent or another. And it's stained in blood, sweat, and tears, and a great deal of sacrifice.
Yeah, I got the honor to meet Joel Casamayor. He's another fighter too, and he told me what he had to do, because he's from Cuba, and he had to escape from Cuba and Castro and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he actually had to leave a son behind, and cross and get over here and. He just ran me through the story of taking down the guard, getting on that boat and going, not knowing if they're going to make it or not.
Right.
Getting
head in this direction.
Yes.
There's land that
so
way.
it was just all the stories of all the boxers. You can watch like Manny Pacquiao's story on Netflix right now. Just everything that he went through. Mike Tyson. You can watch just all the greats, all the sacrifices, and it does, like you said, it comes with a big price with it.
Yeah. And it does not justify some of the eccentric and bad behavior and the lack of values. But I also, when I take a step back and take a breath, and when you know and understand the price tag that came with that, and it's like I'm not saying that I approve of it. I don't say that I condone it, but I understand.
Yeah.
It's wild, it's crazy, and I get it, And by the way, and I mean this, and I'm not saying for anybody that's watching, like, this is the one all be all, because there's sacrifices on everything.
Of course.
But like, your kids want to play hockey, man. You're gonna drop some coin. Your kids want to play lacrosse. You're gonna drop some coin. Your kids want to play golf. You're gonna drop some coin.
Yeah.
Even track, all you're doing is running. But like now you gotta now travel and do all these other things. And over here specifically in Boise, Idaho, soccer is huge.
Yeah.
And again, nothing. Hey fam, your kids are in soccer. Good on you. This is not a jab at you. This is not attacking you. Don't take it personal. And if you're taking it personal, then you need to freaking look in the mirror and see what the heck is that's going on your end. But like, you can't just have like soccer here and that's it. Like growing up in Panama, if you were doing soccer, it was like in the neighborhood, it was in the community, and it was a big deal if all of a sudden you had to go to the next town 15 minutes over. And it was like, and that was like the big championship. Yeah. Over here, like if you're in Boise, you gotta drive your kids to Utah. And they're gonna pay like 2 to 3 games, and then you come back to Idaho, and then like, all right, well now we're going to Oregon. Well, fuck you, I want to do something too, but no, man. And like, but that's what you gotta do. I'm like, no, I told the wife, man, the kids want to play soccer and do all this shit. They fucking better drive themselves. I'm sorry, man, like, because they're gonna be doing some jiu-jitsu at SPG. Idaho.
Yes, got him.
Shout out, got him. But no, that's where I train and that's where I go. Not for jiu-jitsu because that's just too hard. Muay Thai and boxing.
Yep.
The striking arts. But it's wild and it's crazy and I'm by no means an athlete. I'm 40. I'm a dad. I'm working on my dad bod very diligently. But when you look back, when you see, awesome documentaries, like right now, like Frank Grillo, and he came out, I think last year, it's been some time. It's like a 7 or 10 episode series on Netflix called Fight World.
Yeah.
And they're all great. There's just some really awesome content in there.
Yeah.
But the ones that really pull at your soul, especially if you know a little bit of of combatives, when he goes to Mexico for the boxing episode.
Yep.
And like, they are grooming champions. And you're looking at this facility and like really? But that's where the champions come from. Again, there's a toll that you pay And it's not like, by all means, you could buy your way into it, but you do not develop, nor do you have that fighting spirit or that grit if you have not already gone through some shit already. And then you see the Thailand episode, which I think it might be the very first episode. And me being, by the way, don't get mad at me, because you know I love me some Sweet Science, but I got a special place for Muay Thai in my heart.
Well, you got the legs for it.
I got the long ass legs, you know, and the chins don't break. Not yet, anyway. And you know, and Frank Grillo is there, you know, commentating, and he's, you know, like talking to some of the greys, and he gets like to do a session with Bakao in his gym, and I just butcher his name, sorry. But he's doing a lot of things, and he's following these kids, and they're talking about, you know, all the bets and everything that goes, you know, into the fights. And it's different because, you know, you're legitimately cultural difference. Yeah. We have come a long ways as far as like how, well, I would like to think, and I'm grateful that at least I'm part of a community in a gym that respects and keeps children safe while practicing something that develops a great deal of character, which is the martial arts. And then, you know, jiu-jitsu, judo, boxing, Muay Thai, and like everything in between that we do over at SBG. But some places do not. And when you look at Muay Thai, when you look at Muay Thai in Thailand, that's some shit right there.
Vicious,
Your family, you know, whether you request it or your family push you to, are gonna send you to a Muay Thai school, and it's not gonna be in the same little tiny rural ass town where you were born and grew up into. And you go at a very, very young age, and now your coach becomes your parent. And whatever is that you make from your fights as a child, that's the money that pays for your rent, the money that pays for your food, that's the money that you pay for your training, and whatever is left goes to the family. And if you make it and you become a contender and they're a champion, then everybody wins. But there can only be one champion. At the end of the day, in weight class and everything else, and like, you know, whatever town you're in over there, and Thailand is not gigantic, and you know, there can only be one champion. And you it's really cool. And I just, again, not that everybody knows who Frank Grillo is, which is, he does awesome content, and that specific documentary. He has like pretty fun show, where he, you know, Kingdom, where it's just like the owner of the MMA gym and all this other stuff, and that's good fun too, and it's great. It's really cool drama show or whatever. But that fight world, particularly fight world, that you watch that episode of Muay Thai, and I'm not going to take away anything from it for anybody that might be watching, and then you see it at the end, and what happens at the very end is very, very real. And it's so funny because ever since I had my babies, you know, my two sons, you know, I got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. You know, had this happened before, I had watched that show before any of my kids were born, it would have been like, oh man, you know, I've seen some things because of my experiences and my line of work prior. But now I watch that, and it's just like, you can taste it. I mean, I guess because, you know, of shared experiences of, you know, if anybody that has a humble bringing and the sacrifices and the things you have to do. And then you watch that and you see that, and then you just, it's very crazy, sobering. And then you have Frank Grillo's character extend a kindness at the very end. And he means it. Oh my gosh, I went and I hugged my babies right away. And I don't know if you have watched it. Check it out. Make sure that when you watch it, your kids are awake and they're around, because when you get to the end, you're going to grab them and you're going to want to hug them. So anyways, not that he's watching this, shout out to Frank Grillo. That's outstanding television for anybody that is a fan of combatives and the martial arts. What happens to you when you realize, because there's a number of things that happen, right? So it's like, okay, it's a different path. And, you know, like, everybody's always making the jokes, like, you know, those who can't do, teach. I happen to know that you hit very hard. Fun fact. You have never bullied me or whatever, but I have felt it.
Yes.
And I have felt, and I know because you pulled, you didn't hit that hard, but it felt very, very hard. So I know, your skill set is there. You're still very young, and people are telling you, I would have done this and I would have done that, but because you're wise and ahead of your times, you know that you had a different path for yourself. You know and understand that perhaps. Yep. There's some stuttering stuff going on. You got babies. Now you have a wife, and you got.
Yeah, I live for my kids now. I live everything.
Absolutely.
Everything is for them now.
Yeah.
And I'm just growing. If we would have done this a month ago, 2 months ago, we would have had a different conversation in the way of. I think I'm always trying to, get better in every way, and I just, I'm just really just updating myself. We go.
As you should.
We live in a world where we're always worried about updating our phones, updating this, updating cars. Like now, why update ourselves? So I watch one of my. I'm a big fan of Eric Thomas. Motivational speaker, and they have this one show when he's talking to his friends, and you got to create the blueprint of your life, and it just spoke to me because it's so true. I gotta envision, and I'm watching this as I'm teaching too, so everything just kind of worked in together. I'm reliving my life, doing all the things, and it just kind of put the spark in me again of I gotta. All right, now you made it here. Now cool. Now what? Let's keep moving forward now. It's just not. Yeah. And I'm just super blessed. I'm super blessed. I'm really happy where I am now. I'm able to help those people around me hopefully become somebody that people feel safe coming to train, that everybody feels comfortable to train and be able to do this for as long as I can, become a brand. I'm just super proud that my dad gets to see his last name in something that I've created, and he's and also just big shout out to SPG for I talked to Jesse, and Jesse doesn't know, but he doesn't know this, but he's my mentor. I'm always looking at what he's doing. I just admire him so much, and none of this would have been possible without SPG as well, helping me to get there, being able to build this as well. So it's just. I don't know. I'm just very thankful, very humble by everybody. I don't take anything for granted. One of the biggest lessons I've learned very early was I used to have this thing, and I actually learned this from the church, that I can't compare myself. And I used to have that issue of like, oh man, I'm not good enough at this, I'm not good enough at that. So once I started stop worrying about what's going on around me, just focus on myself, everything became so much easier, because now it's on my terms. I'm not trying to do what this person's doing with it. I'm doing what feels right to me, what feels comfortable for me. So and what that is just being able to give back. And I have this beautiful gift. I feel like it's a gift that people want to help me and want to be part of something that I can build together, because they know it comes from a very genuine place, that I want to just be able to help. Yeah.
It's authentic, it's genuine, and that goes a long ways.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Erica, would you like to ask a question?
So you've talked about, you've worked with the youth, and we've touched on that.
Yes.
Like, what's your spectrum? Who are you teaching? I know we've got Ty, so we know you're doing women.
Yes.
I
teach everybody and anybody wants to learn. Yeah, I teach. We have all ranges of ages of students. I'm not gonna say ages because I'll get in trouble. But just anybody who wants to train is welcome. Boxing. I'm not teaching. Again, we're not teaching. People are not getting hurt. I'm teaching for the love of boxing, and how the sweet science can help anybody. What's the word I'm looking for, Jaime? I'm just.
You, in my opinion, okay, you, of course, facilitate a service, which there's going to be physical fitness, and then the experience of training of what it will be like in order to have that fighter experience. Once you start training under you, you realize, as I mentioned earlier in the show, there's values involved. Because all of us, to some extent, were dangerous. And while beautiful, it's still violent.
Yes.
There's a place in which, like, if you happen to have, at least for me, you know, if there's some anger, and that anger needs to be put away somewhere, it needs to go somewhere in which, like, it's going to do something positive. And that for me is like my peace, and it's also my my fitness, in which, like, I don't take that and I don't spend it and on my children. I don't spend it on my spouse. I don't spend it on my colleagues and my clients and things like that. I am far more rounded when I go to the gym, and whether I'm doing basic skill sets, because brilliance in the basics, and or stepping, which doesn't happen very often. It hasn't happened in a while, but if all of a sudden, if I'm sparring with somebody, it's just the respect of, like, you know, I'm potentially going to be punching somebody in the face, but guess what? They're going to be punching me in the face too, and I need to know and understand that. There's a respect that comes with that, and I think, you know, for those that are seeking some sort of peace and they cannot find it in some ways or another, I happen to find a great deal of peace when I am a student and a practitioner of boxing and Muay Thai. That's how I would describe it.
Just like you said, they're my private lessons. They are tailored to each individual of what you're looking for. So, you know, one habit that I have, I get my student, and my first question, hey, how you feeling today? And now I'm starting to, like, once I spend some time with that certain student, like, I can tell what kind of day they're having, so I know how to adjust to the day that they're having, or what they need. If I need to push more, push less. Or sometimes some of my students, they just need someone to hang out and talk, and that's happened sometimes. And it's just essential, you know, active therapy, really, what it is.
It feels like it, as I've been listening. You know, there's okay. So you mentioned it's, you know, the rich or more wealthy individuals usually don't walk into the boxing gym and say, hey, I want to take up boxing. Because they really don't have that angst, is in my opinion. As I'm listening to this, it's like us working class, we have something in our way a lot of the times, and we get angry about that. When I think of today's climate, there's a lot of angry people out there. People have lost their jobs. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to harness that anger, and it sounds like that is perfect.
So SBG is for everybody. There's no class on SBG. SBG is for everybody. But we're talking about, like, old school fighting and
the history of boxing, and, like, you know, and you're mainly referencing towards champions. Like, when you look back at their history and you look back at, like, their journey, it's like, you know, you come from nothing and you sacrifice a great deal, and for the most part, those children, and very, 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 I mean, really, at the end of the day, it's children. When you start that path and you stick to it, that's where it's coming from. And that's why I brought up the reference of like Thailand and Muay Thai and things along those lines. It happens from a very early age and a very early stage. Now, nowadays, it's a little bit different, and it's a little bit more accepting and a little bit friendlier, because a lot of people decide that
we know a little more now.
We know a little bit more. Far safer. Far more community related, at least. And when I say, you know, when I say us, and I speak about, you know, SBG, Straight Blast Gym, Idaho, specifically Combat Fitness, and how you can be from any walk of life, whether you come from privilege or you don't come from privilege. At the end of the day, you are part of the team, and we're making each other better.
Exactly.
And so maybe we. You know, I'm glad you asked that, because it's not like all of a sudden it's like, oh, you got money so you can't combat. No, like that's not the case. And you know, at the end of the day, it's still a business. But when it comes to predominantly the history of, and when you look at, I mean, pick a champion, man. Pick a champion from whatever country. And then, like, if there's not an ESPN documentary about it, then there probably should be.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very parallel, and it's going to be very similar. It's going to be in some crazy, incredible, humble beginnings. There's going to be some crazy sacrifice on a personal level and also on the family level.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a great deal of struggle. And at one point in time, you know, the prize, that light at the end of the tunnel, one becomes attainable. Not always, but at times also becomes the very same thing that destroys them.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're lucky and we get to experience and see a tale of redemption. You know, one of the most famous ones for people that are watching, you know, when you look at the Tyson and the Holyfield rivalry, and he bit his piece of his ear off and all this other stuff, and we were talking about Mike Tyson's, you know, towards like the end of his career and things along those lines. And he had already been in prison, and like all the woos and all the deals that he was, you know, mismanaged on because of, you know, what's his name? Don King and things along those lines. And then now you like fast forward now and you see Evander Holyfield, you know, previous, you know, boxing heavyweight champion, along with Mike Tyson, you know, who's also the youngest heavyweight champion ever. And now they sit shoulder to shoulder and share, you know, the experiences and the friendship that they have now. And they have been able to come back.
Might fight again.
Yeah, and then might fight again. No, he is fighting again. Mike Tyson is going to fight against
Roy Jones.
Roy Jones, also a great champion, you know, and they look mean. And they look saucy and spicy, and you're just like, man, what happened?
Yeah, he looks good too.
Well, good for them. Strong. No, I know, he's very strong, very fast, and I was just, and clearly I have no excuses.
Yeah, just glad to be alive when he's fighting again. Glad to see it.
Yeah, great.
And I'm gonna take another one of these.
As you should. Just kidding. Erica, can I get a time hack?
It is 7:30.
It is 7:30. So this is good. So no pressure, no expectations. I'm already in trouble because I'm supposed to be home at dinner at 7:30. But the show must go on. That's when we're on a roll. Man, she's going to be so pissed. Actually, she's not, because she never watches. My mom does. But touching back on a couple of things. What was the deciding factor? And if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. Just let me know, and I'll pivot to a different question. I just happen to know I have a little bit of insider information, coach, because you know you're not only my coach, but you're also my friend. When was it that because in the back of your head, you're still very young. You're 25. We're talking about the story in Vegas. That was 5 years ago. You're 20. What happens between 20 and 25, in which is like, you're like, okay, like, this is it, you know, like, it's like, okay, like I could come back, I could get in shape, and I could fight. The skill set is there, the muscle memory is there. You're still very, very young. Yes, there's a wife now. Yeah, there's baby, and then babies involved. But what is it that, you know, that makes it where like, okay, so this is it? Yeah,
you know, it was just knowing what I can be. I mean, my goal was always to give back. It was never It was never boxing. So that played a part of it. I think I wanted to fight and come back again because I didn't want to lose my identity of I'm Daniel Marin, the fighter. But as soon as I let go of my ego, let go of this, now I can start doing what I was meant to do.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I mean, my family, my wife, she's supportive. She says, you know, I was like, I'm gonna fight again. So she's like, all right, if you're gonna do it, you better do it 100%, because I'm not gonna support it if you're only doing it halfway, because it's rough. You know, everybody talks about how hard it is for the boxer, but we also don't know how hard the family in the back suffers too, because you know they go months without seeing us, or like for my wife, it was a whole year without seeing us, my parents, and everybody around you sacrifices something to help you get there. And then also I was just really done with boxing. I just
for a competitive level.
For a competitive level, and I love teaching. I love coaching. I was coaching up there in boxing too, And another one of my greatest achievements in Vegas, because we were right in like north side of Las Vegas. I was teaching the kids classes there, and I had this student, and he was 13. He had tattoo, pants down low, spiky hair, and the mom came crying one day, and she said that this kid keeps putting his hands on me, and yes, my reaction. My first thing was like, cool, I'm gonna make him spar and I'm gonna put a beating on this kid. But I took a step back. I said, no, that's not gonna help. So instead, I pulled him to the office. I was like, hey man, come over here. Pulled him to the office, and it was just the single mom raising them. So it was him and his brother. So I was like, hey man, you're the oldest brother. You gotta take care of your mom. You do this. So I try to talk to him as best I could, and then tell him that this is not okay. But I can tell that he wasn't paying attention. He was just like, yeah, whatever, like this,
Right.
It just, nothing was clicking. So I was sitting on the desk and there was a computer in front of me. So I just kind of turned it, and I'm just starting clicking buttons. I'm not really doing anything. I'm making it look like I'm looking for things and searching. And I'm like, hey man, guess what? We're gonna get you, I found you a halfway house. We're gonna put you in here. You really hate your mom. You hate this. I was like, don't worry, you're never gonna have to deal with them again. You're never gonna have to do this. But I was like, but from here on out, you have to be home at a certain time. You have to get your homework done. You're gonna dry your own clothes. You're gonna do this. And then even before that, I made a horrible story about I was like, oh, I have a friend with the same kind of scenario. And I was like, and the mom died and this and that. And that kind of got his attention. But what really got his attention was like this. And then I was like, don't worry, you'll never see her again. Like we're done here. And then he just starts crying like, no, I'm sorry, I'm this and that. And so I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna give you one chance, but if not, this is where you're gonna go. And then a little time went by, and he comes back again. His new hairdo, dressed real nice, he's training, and then the mom comes, he just says, I don't know what you did, but thank you. He's helping around the house, he's helping his brother, he's sweeping, he's still cussing at home, but everything else is getting into. So I just found out from super early that I can make a really big impact on those people though. And that for me is worth more than a championship, is worth more than winning a fight, winning any of those things. That for me means a lot to me, a lot more than anything really. Yeah.
That, my friends, is called an impact-driven life. Yeah, we cannot top that. Coach, where can we find you? Where can people get trained by you? Mm-hmm. Where do we do the thing, man? This is your time right here. We're gonna bring it full circle. Where can the people get a little bit more Daniel Marin, Chino Marin? Where do they get to learn the sweet science? Where do they go?
So a couple different options. You guys can, I'm a boxing coach for SBG Idaho. You guys can also, I teach private lessons. You guys can book through me through my website, Marin Boxing Academy, or the easiest way is just follow me on Instagram, social media. My Instagram is Chino Marin. There I have a booking button. You'll be pulled up to my calendar. Just block a private lesson and we'll meet there at the gym. Super easy. Other than that, just any questions you guys have, just message me.
And do you have to be a gym member in order to have a private lesson, or you can just have a private lesson?
Yeah, if you just want to try it out, you don't have to be a member of the gym. There's some waivers and stuff that we got to sign, but other than that, you can come in. All you need is workout gear, a little water bottle, and a few people need to throw a bucket. But other than that, you're good.
Positive mental attitude. Where can the people find the swag?
Yes, you guys can message me on Instagram, Facebook, and I can get you guys some pretty cool T-shirts. I'm super proud. All my students, when we did the kids camp, I was able to get them all little T-shirts and little swag backpack, water bottles and everything. And what I told them is like, when you guys wear this shirt, you guys are wearing a part of me, part of everything that I've created. So when you wear this T-shirt, it means honor, strength, and pride with it along the way.
Boom.
Yeah.
Kids camp. There's going to be another one. We do not have the dates.
No dates yet.
What do the kids need to do? What do the parents need to do? And I know we don't have a date just yet, but let's build up to that.
Yeah, so parents, if you are interested in getting your kids signed up to kids camp, we don't have the dates yet, but you guys can email me at coachmarinsbg@gmail.com. That way I can put you in a little group message that we have. We will drop off dates, or just on Instagram, Chino Marin, or Facebook, Marin Boxing, and we'll release all the dates there as well.
Outstanding. What does that look like for families in order to be able to, some might be able to afford it easily, some might not be able to afford
Yeah,
it
so,
easily. Talk to me about that, please.
So we have a payment option. People who can't afford it, no big deal. We don't want anybody to be left out. So everybody and anybody is welcome to try out the classes. Yeah.
Okay. So if you're watching, you want the kids to get out there, experience something new, be part of a community, and be part of something that is gonna raise their awareness of what they can accomplish and what they can do, not only by themselves, but also as a team in a nurturing environment, in a safe environment, in an encouraging environment. I will highly encourage you to reach out to Coach Daniel Marin on the Instagram. What is it again?
Chino Marin.
Chino Marin. On the Facebook. What is it again?
Marin Boxing.
The email. What is it again?
Coach Marin SPG@gmail.
And then once this episode goes into YouTube, God, the accent hits. It strikes again. We will have all the links for that again and any updated information.
Yes.
I cannot thank you enough, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
For sharing your story. Thank you for being genuine, being authentic, and being vulnerable. It's not always easy, but it's something that I respect and I admire about you. As I mentioned earlier, and I have said it before, you are well ahead of your times, and you're an old soul, and that's in the best of ways. You have helped me tremendously in order, to manage everything. I'm a far better human being, colleague, father, husband, friend to everybody here in my community when I have the ability to go and train with you and coach Jesse, whether it's boxing and Muay Thai. And I'm also very happy to be able to call that community friends.
Yep.
And
we're a tribe.
Long-lasting friends, because we're a tribe. One tribe, one vibe. Otov. Coach, again, I want to say thank you. We'll have all the information about everything coming up and how to get in touch with you as far as like training or whether anybody wants to check out the gym and things like that. As always, big shout out to Vital Elements, our sponsors.
Whoop, whoop.
When you check us out on YouTube, there's going to be a link right there if you want to check out any of the awesome products that Vital Elements have. Boom, please use our link. You want to become an affiliate and you want to learn a little bit more about it, boom, please go ahead, use our link. As always, huge shout out to Argos Productions, to Erica and Justin, and sweet baby James for always helping us out with My Idaho Friends. This is not possible without their help and their expertise, and they are not just friends, but they are family as well. Check them out on their website. Beautiful studio, absolutely awesome. Roads to Bogus merchandise. Do not forget to check out the website. Vital Element swag as well. Do not freaking, avoid the link. Make sure you freaking go and click on it. Again, thank you so much, Coach. Thank you so much, Argos Productions, and everybody watching. Thank you so much. Been away for a while. We're coming back with a vengeance. Bow hunting season started. Just got back. I didn't get anything, but I'm always going to do my best to get back to the studio every Wednesday. So we're giving new content for you guys and having some impactful conversations with centers of influence and business owners and everybody else who wants to share a worthwhile tale with all of you. Again, and as always, while you're out in Idaho, if you get a chance, be kind to somebody. Going through some rough times. Things are challenging, things are weird, but I think if we'll take a step back and realize that we have far more in common rather than far more in opposite, and just you'll see that really we're just one tribe.
That's right.
So again, I encourage you to be nice to each other, to be kind to each other. Be well. except if you're Ammon Bundy. Fuck that guy. Fuck you, Ammon Bundy. But everybody else in Idaho, seriously. And if you go back, whatever fucking hole you fucking crawled off, please get the fuck out of my goddamn state. Everybody be safe. Cheers. Love you a long time, Idaho. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Argos Productions. You be well.